there's an article I saw, president from TDE, goes by Punch. He said, regards to a question in the interview about, he goes to an interview. Some people might not know, man. We just had that conversation. He was in an interview and somebody asked him obviously about Kendrick, because we've mentioned, I don't know how many shows ago, what's he gonna do when he's gonna come out. But he basically was like, he said yes, soon, very soon, in relation to when are we gonna hear some Kendrick music. And I got to thinking, like, Damn came out, I believe, in 2017, if I'm not mistaken. Y'all fact check me on that. I think it's 2017. Damn came out.
Yeah, I think so.
And 2017 to 2021, that's a big gap, man.
Do we count the Black Panther soundtrack, which he executive produced and was featured
Probably
on
not.
a nice handful of songs?
I mean, maybe
that doesn't.
I'm not gonna count that one. I'm gonna count that one. Soundtrack was fire though, but
compilation album, kind of.
Yeah, I'm not gonna count that one, but he was all over that mug, and that mug was fire. It still sound good now, so I'm with you there. But I don't know if I'm gonna count it, in the discography or whatever. But with him, would it be in 2017 to 2021? An artist of his caliber, one of the all-time greats. How do y'all feel about the hiatus? Do you think this is a situation that adds to the legend as we wait and anticipate for him to drop product? Because this ain't Detox. He's put albums out, so it ain't like that. Or can this have a negative impact on his legacy, taking 4 years to put an album out? You know what I mean? Like, how do we all are Kendrick fans? I would just say support Kendrick, rock with him. I think this looks from a fan standpoint, consumer standpoint, him having such a big hiatus in between albums. Lone, I'll come to you first. What do you think about that, man? How does that look just on face value?
You know how I feel. I don't care.
Talk to me, man.
Like, Kendrick's a great artist, but he's an actual artist. Like, he's a hip hop artist with a lot of musicality in it, and as an artist, sometimes it takes a little bit of living before you can get back in there and write some other shit. You know what I mean? And especially if you're going to not just make the same thing you made last time, you're going to maybe try something different, that's what type of artist he is. I don't think anybody is necessarily. To be honest, I don't think there's anybody that's gonna be like, oh man, Kendrick's let me down, I'm not gonna listen to it when he drops. It's not like Jay Electronica, who didn't drop for a decade, didn't have anything before it. Like, Kendrick gave us like 1, 2, 3, 4, like arguably four classic projects in a row, depending on what you determine as classic. But let's just say great projects, right? And if not more, exactly, and if not more. And when he feels like, me personally, when he feels like dropping music, I'll check it out because he hasn't let me down. There's a handful of artists in this category, I think, too. Like Odyssey's in this category. Whenever Odyssey decides to drop again, I'm going to be there. And it's like, I know that what he's going to drop, I know he's not just going to drop something just to drop something. Sure, it may not be, maybe an EP or a short track or a project or something, but I know that it's going to be good. So that's how I feel about it.
Okay. I'm mad at that. Just for just a quick note, looked at I always compare Kendrick and his sound and the way he evolves. I always use Outkast as a comparison. And Outkast did every 2 years. I looked on Wikipedia, and their albums were every 2 years, starting off with Southern Playalistic, obviously. Every 2 years they dropped the album. So just for point, because I always use them as a point of reference. But Jay Diff, what do you think, man? Do we care, or does it taint anything to you, in your opinion, or could you see people be tainted by that?
I mean, or butthurt for by a whole lot less nowadays. So, I mean, I could imagine people probably are upset, but who knows? I mean, them type people need to get a life. At the end of the day, as an artist, can't really put a time frame or a time clock on an artist that's creating things. You know what I'm saying? As is lucky enough to be in a position to where he can actually take some time off, reflect, actually live his life. Into Long's point of view, come back with some more fresh shit to write about. Now, mind you, in this past 4 years, artists of Kendrick's stature has had a lot of material that he could have written about. A lot of people are asking, why didn't he talk about this and why didn't he talk about that? I don't think somebody necessarily has to address something when you want them to address it. And he's not a politician. He doesn't hold office anywhere. He's a hip hop artist, and he's human at the end of the day, just like me and you.
Yep.
A lot of people have addressed these situations that have went on as far as society and United States wise by becoming hermits or dressing in different ways. They may have acted out on it. They may have fought their way out of the situation. Who knows what he's going through? Like I said, he's human. So, I mean, whenever he decides to drop a project, it's the right time to drop the project at the end of the day.
I literally
have that luxury.
I literally have written on my board over here, artists are human. And it's been there for probably 3 or 4 years, just to remind myself, even as a music critic, to not go too hard on people and to kind of reevaluate that just for myself, you know? So
even back in the day, how you compare Outkast dropping every 2 years. Back then, dropping every 2 years was actually quite often for artists back then, because you live in a day now where you're expected to drop 2 projects in the same year sometime. And DMX started that trend. He was the first artist to drop 2 projects in the same calendar year. Jay-Z was dropping projects every year to a certain point. I mean, Jay-Z hasn't dropped a project since 444, which was 3-4 years ago as well.
Yep.
I'm saying, so I mean, you can't really put your time card or a time clock on these artists to make something magical or make something that you're even going to be interested in hearing.
Okay. I'm not mad at that.
Do you guys expect, I mean, I know Jay's going to chime in, but do you guys actually expect like Jay to drop, like ever since he retired the first time, I just haven't expected him to put any more music out. Like if he does, it's cool. But
it's always a treat to me, honestly.
Yeah, I'm just saying, like, do you expect him to actually put any more music out? Like, I just feel like he's just like whenever he feels like it, you know?
Yeah, I get excited when he drops something, or I'm curious to listen to it, but I have zero expectations. Yeah, I have zero expectations from Hov.
Well, so I look at it like this with Jay-Z. It's like in Grand Theft Auto, he's already finished the game, and anytime he puts out a record, it's just a side quest now. Like he's completely, you know, there's nothing left to prove at this point, you know. And so if he's going to give us anything, it's going to be in his time. And once again, he's got so many other things to do, you know. But for Kendrick, I think it's the same with a lot of artists right now. Why am I going to put out this great piece of art that I have no potential to tour behind? Because we're just not in that space still in society right now. I know people are getting their shots and still trying to, you know, but we're not even at a point where, you know, on a scientific level that we could be at herd immunity. You know, so it's still dangerous for people out here to be in certain situations.
I think that's why Drake is tucked.
Yeah, that's why I think he put out that 3-pack, you know what I'm saying, and just get the streets talking a little bit, but he's not going to put out a full album. I wouldn't, you know, until he has a chance to where he could really it can be a for real rollout. I mean, like a rollout during pandemic, you know, what is that? You know, there are a lot of places that are open. I'm not even going to act like, you know, Indianapolis isn't trying to act like Atlanta a little bit. But
talk to him.
We just have to be honest that really in a streaming era, I know there are people out here who are able to get their money through that. If you get 1 billion streams, you know, here's your money.
Yeah.
But a lot of these artists, they have to tour. You know, a lot of artists are still now behind this pandemic, and they're not talking about missing a few $1,000s. There are artists out here talking about, we missed several million because we can't tour. And if you're an arena artist like Drake or Kendrick at this point, Yeah, you know, I'm not putting out anything until I can go and really tour behind it. So, and plus, you know, once again, Kendrick is, you know, to take business aside, because that's what I was talking about, but Kendrick is he's a real artist and he has something to live up to. There's some guys, they can put out records all the time because it's like, you know, if they do put out something that's really good, people are like, oh, wow, he really snapped on that, you know, but they don't have particular musical legacies to live up to. Like, if you just talk about the 3 albums that came out on Aftermath, you know, these are all, you know, we're going to be talking about To Pimp a Butterfly like we talk about, you know, Kind of Blue. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's going to be something they teach in college courses.
Ooh, that's big. Wait a minute, that's big. Say it again.
Not just because of musicality right now. When you think about what was going on in the country and what he was rhyming about, like it's almost like this ill time capsule of, you know, the time, you know, it really, you know, a lot of records, they could have been put out at any time. Kendrick records speak to the time when they were released. And so if you're going to be that kind of artist, like, you have to put a certain tender loving care into the songs that you release. It just can't be about, okay, we need these singles for the radio, we need these singles for the club, we need these joints for the strip club. Kendrick is not that artist. And so we should be honestly happy whenever we get whatever we get from him, because he's just one of those special artists to where, in a way, like Outkast, you can compare them. Like, we can be mad, like, man, we're not getting no music from Outkast. Look, the music that we got from Outkast is so special, we shouldn't complain about it if we never get another note from as a group.
Hey, I'll tell you what. I've had this conversation before, and I don't want to go this route, but I want to say this real quick. People, when I hear conversations about, oh man, fan recorded the album in a month. Oh man, fan recorded the album in a month and a half, 2 months. It got 25 records on it. Oh man. I'm like, first of all, Lone's point, it's like, okay, cool. Second of all, majority of the time that I hear that, it sounds like y'all recorded it in a month and a half. You know what I mean? Like
exactly. Yeah. Exactly.
It's like record, like, I'm like, if I listen to a project, it's got 16 joints on it, like 14 of them sound the same. And, you know, it's just like, I can tell y'all didn't take this long to put this, you know, microwavable music out. Now, I might have some heat on there. I'm not opposed to that. I'm not saying that it doesn't. But the general consensus for the project, I'm like, fam, it sounds like it took y'all a month and a half to record it.
Yeah, and half the songs are 2 minutes and 20 seconds long. You know,
there we go.
It's like you got a 16-song project and it's barely a half hour.
We're running up them numbers, man. It's the streaming game. Like, yeah, I'm gonna drop a project that got 75 songs on it so everybody can stream it. You know what I mean?
It's funny because this conversation kind of ties into
yours is for different. Don't do that.
Sounds like the ties into the conversation we had last week as far as musicians and groups and how is existing and operated totally different back then.
Yeah.
Even the way people are manufacturing music is way different now. That's why when you have an artist like Kendrick Lamar who takes his time with his shit, you know what I'm saying, and he makes music for the moment that spans over lifetimes. I mean, it's kind of like Marvin Gaye type shit. Marvin Gaye was releasing songs that were popular, but he also was speaking on the moment.
You know what I'm saying? Man. And James Brown the same way.
Yeah, shit still sounds good to this day though, because when you make music like that, it transcends time.
If you've enjoyed this segment of the New Old Heads podcast, make sure to join our live show every Tuesday from 9 to 11 p.m. Eastern on twitch.tv/newoldheads. And we invite you to join our hip hop community on Discord. Access it by going to newoldheads.com/community for talks on hip hop, sports, music, news, and everything else.